What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. It's a little bit cold outside today here in Colorado. So instead of pulling this thing outside to pressure wash it to essentially prep underneath for epoxy primer and seam sealing all the welding and stuff that we did, what are we gonna be doing?
We're about to pressure wash the whole underneath of this thing, get it all cleaned up into grease so we can primer it, and then seam seal all the spots back here where we kind of overlap the pan and where we did all the welds as if they would have done that from the factory. So that way we can basically undercoat this whole thing and then start installing the brake lines, fuel lines, subframe, so on and so forth.
So there is some dirt, some mud, some stuff underneath here. All this stuff right here is like kind of weird mud stuff. So basically pressure wash, degrease the whole bottom of it. Then we could actually seam seal it, and then we could actually put brake lines, subframe, all that stuff in it and be good to go.
Get it rolling.
All right guys, so Sean went ahead, got this whole thing pressure washed. It's been sitting out here drying for a couple hours. We've had the fan on it. We've been blowing it off with the leaf blower. Went ahead, scuffed some of this stuff, hit it with the brake cleaner, kind of cleaned it all off. And now we're basically just gonna hit it with some black epoxy primer. And we need to put the epoxy primer down before we put the seam sealer on all of the seams. So got all that stuff loaded, or got the epoxy primer loaded up in the gun. We're gonna spray it. After we're done spraying it, we can seam seal it, then we can put the subframes in it, and then we could go drive it eventually. So Sean's getting ready to spray her on there, and I'll be handling this here camera. We'll see how it turns out. So Sean just seam sealing this stuff under here. She used a little line, use some black seam sealer. Just kind of spreading it out with the little acid brush over all the welds and stuff that we did. So this is the finish of that that black epoxy primer that we did. So I don't know, do you think we should actually paint over this, or like go over it with like some undercoating, or you think that's?
I think this is plenty good.
I mean, it looks really good how it is, and then we use the black seam sealer, so it looks nice.
Great.
Yeah, looks beautiful,
brand new.
So yeah, just kind of making sure nothing gets to where we were welding or in any of the seams where it goes up in there. Obviously, that's why it's called seam sealer. Now we just need to move on to the engine bay. We need to get the engine bay all prepped so that way we could actually weld on the radiator support. That way we can put the brake lines in and do all the other stuff. We got lots of stuff left to do. So we just started. I was just telling Sean, we were talking about overtime because the song that's on the radio currently, and I was like, we're not even at full time right now. We're at undertime because we don't even work.
Don't even work full time.
We don't even work full time, so you can't even talk about it overtime. But, so we're putting this. We're starting to take everything off the front of this thing because we need to fit up the fenders onto this chassis, so that way we can make sure, well, fenders, headlight, bumper, make sure this radiator support is in the right spot, so that way we can get it welded in, that way we can prep the engine bay, we can paint the engine bay, and then we can drive it.
We can say that after, and then we can drive it. After everything we do, and then we can drive it. That's perfect.
We got to put this strut tower bolt on it, and after that we can drive it. Just go for a drive in that thing.
Start saying that every time in the video.
Well, you'll get that in these big jobs, right?
And then we can drive it.
Yeah. Well, after we seam seal the bottom of it, then we can drive
it.
Yeah. Just go for a drive, probably. still working and fighting with the headlight, trying to get that film off. It's almost like they put like a clear bra on it and then like tinted it with like window tint film or something. But you could see when I initially got the car on the auction, I seen this headlight and I seen that like the power steering pump was removed over here, and I thought it almost had like some sort of an engine bay fire or something, and that's why it had, but that's why it was a mechanical damage on the auction. So Sean's using the heat gun technique over here, peeling it off. I'm using the mechanical, using this little magic eraser. It basically uses friction to kind of just kind of peel it off. So 2 different methods. His looks like it's working out all right. But this is kind of the mystery box Evo that I got from the auction. The crank girdle was in the trunk. If you guys haven't seen that video, I'll put the link up in a card up here. But it has a FP turbo. I'm not sure exactly which one, but obviously bigger turbo. It has a boost controller tied into it. It has some upgraded piping. I'm not sure about injectors. RC injectors. I actually haven't seen the injectors in it yet. So it has RC injectors, has a battery relocated to the trunk, and then it actually has a Perrin front mount intercooler. Obviously it had an exhaust and stuff on it, had these wheels, has a GoPro mount, and then in the interior, super clean, 98,000 miles. Seats are in pretty good shape. It has a harness bar in it, has these, the seats like they were taking it to the track, and overall pretty clean interior. Carbon fiber roof wrap. I just put this off of that other parts car. Has a carbon trunk on it. Has like the JDM style tails. This one was broken, but JDM rear bumper too, and basically a straight pipe exhaust. So pretty cool car. We are going to be stealing the transmission out of this thing, and eventually I have a cool plan for this thing where we're going to be swapping in a pretty serious motor into this thing and doing some cool stuff with it. So that'll be in the future. So we are going to be robbing the transmission out of here because we may or may not need it in the future. But yeah, that's what this car is. So basically took the fender off of it to mount on this one. Then we're going to mount the headlights, put the hood on it, kind of clip the bumper and stuff in, give us a little bit more of a visual, and then we'll actually be able to officially weld on the radiator support and start moving on with the engine bay of this thing, so that way eventually we can drive it. I got all that stuff off of this headlight, but I ended up, what did you do?
Blowing it.
You blew it. I blew it big time. So I heated it up too much, so you could see all that little stuff. So that's actually after like sanding it and polishing it with the compound. I think I heated it up too much, and then I went over it with some like paint gun cleaner and some goof off to try to get all the leftover adhesive. And as soon as I wiped it, it like took all them spots where I got it warm, and it like cracked them. So I don't know if I compromised them by getting them too hot with this thing and then put the lacquer on it, and it just kind of almost, I mean, obviously that's what happened. It like shattered it. So Sean was getting this one off, but there's still like another layer of sticky stuff, but underneath it looks fine. So it was definitely me. So we just need to figure out how to get this off without messing it up. But no, we're not gonna worry about that right now. If anybody has any Evo 9 HID headlights, I'd like a new set if I can for the wagon, obviously. But for now, we're just gonna pull the headlights out, put it over here, get it all mocked up, and then get the radiator support welded on.
We can drive it.
Hey, I've seen you guys on the Boost Weather hoodie and saying, man, that's a cool Evo wagon. I wish I had my own Evo. Well, now is your chance. We are giving away the 700 horsepower Evo, $10,000 cash. We're giving away cash in every order ending the 14th. Head over to motionautoTV.com. Grab yourself some awesome merch. You're automatically entered, but we do have Boost Weather hoodies, Evo boxes, all that stuff in stock, and cash in orders ends in a few days. Check it out. Link in the description. Hey, what happened?
We sacrificed some things.
The Mystery Auction Evo got some parts stolen off this. We took the fender, the front bumper. Well, we didn't use the front bumper, but we used the headlights and the hood on here so we could kind of get everything fitted because the next stage of this thing is actually welding on the radiator support, so that way we could do some more stuff in the engine bay, so that way we can paint it so we can drive it. Yeah, so we can drive it. But as of right now, we got the front bumper. I did buy a brand new OEM front front bumper from the Mitsubishi dealer. I got a $150 grill. This thing was like 700 bucks. Really expensive. Headlights. I messed up the headlight over here, which I showed you guys that yesterday. We got this fender. It's got a little dent in it. Got a carbon fiber hood, which is okay, I guess, for now. Man, this side of the car just looks so good. It like looks like it's almost done. The back of the car over here, other than this window frame, we need to put the window frame in eventually, but again, we're gonna wait for the other quarter panels to come in. But man, up under here, and look at that. Looks like brand new. Looks like a brand new like OEM car. So all seam sealed and everything ready to go. So yeah, I guess the next stage is gonna be to finish the engine bay, get that stuff painted. So that way we can put all the brake lines and stuff in it, and we can put the diffs and subframes, get this thing rolling, and then we'll steal an engine out of that, or steal an engine out of something, put this thing in it, put the quarter panels on it, and then eventually we'll be able to drive it. But I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you later.